Welcome to the Orange Flag podcast. Le Mans happened. I guess we can say it happened. Good job, Toyota. I guess. I'm Aries.
I'm Austin.
I'm Nicole. So, yes, Le Mans happened. For the second time this year, Kévin Estre did a race and I was not there, and I hate that. No, it's like I said for the Nürburgring 24 hours, it's actually just weird to not be there. Like, it just for a while now, it has felt like a foregone conclusion. Kévin Estre does a race, Nicole is at said race. But now there have been two in like relatively close proximity to one another, where I have not been there. I am aware that this is like the most first world problem in the universe to be complaining about.
You tell that to
Kévin
me.
is doing, yeah. Like, Kevin's doing at least 11, possibly 12 if he does Suzuka races this year. The 9 IMSA races, and then he's done Nürburgring and
This is too much math.
I am going to 9 of those 11 or 12 races. I am aware that that's ridiculous, like, numbers wise, and I really can't be upset that, like, other people got to go to the Nürburgring, or other people got to go to Le Mans. Spoiler alert, I would be upset that other people are going to the Nürburgring or Le Mans, whether Kevin's doing them or not. Because those are, like, epic races. I'm upset that I can't, like, split myself in half and be at Watkins watching Kévin race and be at the 24 Hours of Spa because, again, epic race that I will not be able to be at.
Yeah.
But yes, I was a little sad when I was seeing everybody else getting to meet Kévin, and I didn't, as if I, didn't see Kévin 2 weeks ago and won't see Kévin in a week and a half. But yes, very jealous of everybody, but shout outs to people that sent me Kévin things. Teresa sent me an interview and a bunch of pictures from that she did with Kévin. That was awesome. That's the one where, oh, my shirt showed up. It's the one where this quote came from.
Wheels and a steering wheel.
Exactly.
That's an epic
yeah,
quote.
so like it's amazing, and this is like possibly my favorite stupid Kévin shirt that I've made of all of my dumb merch. But yeah, so that was awesome. And then Chris got a message from Kévin from my phone story. Probably sent me over 100 pictures of the TDS number 14 car, and probably a dozen pictures of Kévin himself. So, like, Chris knew what the audience, me, wanted at Le Mans and delivered massively. And then Matt attempted to get a video of Kévin saying hi to me, but doesn't know how to use a phone and screwed up the video. Thank you for the effort, though. Yeah.
Is Matt related to Kamui, then, who also didn't know how to work a phone this weekend?
Yes, they must be brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate Matt trying to do that, whether it worked out or not. The attempt is really cool. And then Fifth Gear got me, again, a crapload of pictures of Kévin and the car. So just shout outs to those people for making me feel slightly more like I was there through my sadness of not being there.
I mean, we did get some people saying that we were living vicariously through the pictures and all the stories everybody was telling. So yeah, it did kind of alleviate the FOMO I was getting by a very small percentage, but it did help. just a tiny, tiny bit. And he got me thinking, what if I actually started planning to get there next year? So maybe, who knows,
Do
where what
it.
I might be telling you guys in 12 months' time. But it lit up something in me to be like, yeah, maybe you should look up into getting yourself to France next year. Because why not?
Yes. I mean, I may go. It's very schedule dependent of a certain driver's contract situation next year.
Certain
Um
driver. I
I
yeah.
wonder
wonder
who
who
that
that
is,
could be.
right? There are so many possibilities.
I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for 2028, because next year the team I'm supporting is going to be new to Hypercar. Um, and as we know, when it comes to teams new to Hypercar, the first year isn't always the
Not
best.
always the greatest, yeah. No,
Um,
I would agree with that you'd want to wait until the car and the team are a little bit more established. I don't think that there's any risk of that being a 1-year deal, so
no. So I'm thinking 2028, but
yeah.
also, once again, the Australians are still trying to get me to go to Bathurst, so we'll see which
I
The
one
feel like
takes
blue
place.
hell
Bathurst is a
definition.
completely different commitment financially
Oh,
than Le Mans.
100%.
Like, you're talking 2 to 3 times more.
Yes. Which is why it's like, which one we doing first when it comes to saving money?
Yeah, that's one of those, like, you really can't just do Bathurst. Like, I wouldn't. My budget for this year wouldn't do Bathurst. Like, it's quite ridiculous.
Yes. But as we know, it is on the list. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's on the list, you're gonna make it happen. Like, I
It
don't know.
will happen eventually.
At some point. At
I
some
am
point.
At
I
some
am just
point.
very content to just start small and then work my way through progressively higher
Yeah.
prestigious
If
levels.
Honestly, if someone would have told me I was going to do the entire IMSA season before doing Nürburgring or Le Mans, I would have called them crazy. But extenuating circumstances made it happen.
Aries' face just made me laugh.
I like how I'm just like, for no reason whatsoever, avoiding naming Kévin. Like, I've said a certain driver, I've said extenuating circumstances, I've said specific contract situations. I'm just like, not talking about Kévin for no reason at all. We all know I'm talking about Kévin Estre. So, like, I don't
Obviously,
actually need to say that.
Yeah.
obviously. I mean,
Aries
it's
was
not like
just like whispering like
yeah,
what you were saying while making funny faces,
I was like
Yeah.
and I couldn't
extenuating
hold back the laughter
circumstances, and
anymore.
I was like, well, he's not like Lawrence Vanthor who's gonna show up outside your window if you say his name 3 times.
I hope Larry doesn't show up outside my window. That would be scary.
Is Larry Bloody Mary now?
Yes! And Beetlejuice.
Like,
And all
is that
other
what we're
things.
saying?
Yes, 100%. But still, I don't want Larry showing up outside my window. That would be scary. And it would really upset the dog.
New Halloween costume, Lawrence Van.
In a ghost sheet shirt.
I was about to say, which form of Larry? Because there's
Larry's
so many
ahead
forms.
of you on the Halloween costume situation.
Because if we're
Pretty
doing
much.
Larry as a Halloween costume, we can just do sheet. But if it's like dressing as Larry, there's so many different ways you could take that. Are you doing driver Larry, bike Larry, Sahi obsessed Larry? There's
Commentator
there's
Larry.
commentator Larry, which
We'll
was
get
him
to
just
that.
wearing orange.
Right.
Felt very McLaren.
McLarry.
Yeah, Mick Larry. Like, which form are we doing here?
Driver card Larry.
Of course.
That one sounds kind of complicated. You have to have,
Driver
like,
card
a
Larry
big
from
box.
the 7.
Yeah. Which driver card Larry are you doing?
Kévin is not driver card Larry.
Definitely not.
Driver card Larry from the 6.
Yeah, and then are you doing driver card Larry 6 IMSA or 6 WEC?
I mean, I have all of these options if we want to do driver card. Like, I could, like, make an outfit out of the Larry driver cards and go as driver cards for Halloween.
See, like, there's so many avenues we could take this.
I feel like I'm a small enough person that my driver cards could turn into, like, clothing.
I'm imagining these, like how people have been doing these, like, metal dresses
Yes,
for
exactly,
some reason.
with the cards.
That's what my, like,
The
TikTok feed has become. I don't know why. And I'm imagining that, but just with driver cards.
hilarious.
I love how we ended up
Doesn't
there.
sound comfortable.
I am proud of myself.
Yeah, I don't know how we ended up at driver card Halloween costumes, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that is, like, prime drinking game material, because
except it wasn't about Kevin. I was talking about Larry, I feel
and
like.
I feel like at this point, drinking game is just going off topic. It doesn't have to be Kevin specific. It's
I feel
just
like
going
it's more
off
fun if it's
script,
Kevin
and that was
specific.
100% off.
That was
script.
100% off script, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, back on script.
Back to the
The 2030 regs kinda sorta got previewed.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say announced because, like, they were so vague that it really wasn't an announcement. Like, all they said is there's gonna be a new car and it's gonna be rear wheel drive and you can make your own pieces. But, like, they didn't say whether the pieces are gonna be to a spec. They didn't say anything.
It's one of those where it's like, reading between the lines, you could take this to mean so many different things because of how vague they were.
Right, and then John Doonan comes out and is like, yeah, the IPSA teams will be able to carry over the majority of their design, and then the ACOs over here being like, these are going to be from-scratch designs that the teams need to start, they cannot carry over any elements, and John Doonan's like, these are going to be LMDHs. Like, guys, we just did a joint announcement. How are we balkanizationing this quickly?
Oh! Exactly. Which is why that part almost made it even more confusing to understand.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Because I was like,
we're going down two completely different avenues, but somehow this is both supposed to be the same thing.
Right. Which makes me think that they agreed to, like, build your own bits and rear-wheel drive, and that's it. They have not narrowed down anything beyond build your own bits and rear-wheel drive. Which, build your own bits could be build your own Orica. It literally could be having to build an Orica chassis not built by Orica.
Yeah, who knows?
Which,
I mean, some places, this is what got me, it got the gears in my mind turning somewhat, because my mind sometimes works. Like, I read a bunch of articles, and they all talking about this announcement, and it felt like there was different info in each one of them. Like, you had to piece
single
things
one of
up.
them.
Like, there was one place talking about mentioning that you could still use Orica, Ligier, Riley, and not Riley, Delara, and Multimatic, and nowhere else. Riley and Multimatic, brilliant. And then there was another place that did talk about, let's say, that you could take them off the shelf and you could, build your own. And I was like, guys, it's like everybody's jumping to their own conclusions from a little announcement. And I was like, yeah, that's
what it
really
gave?
conclusive.
You know that meme? That's the red strings just everywhere.
Yeah.
It felt like that. Where it was like, we're drawing conclusions and we gotta connect this point to this point. And and then the guy screaming, that's how I felt.
The only thing that I can think of that may have happened is there's the official statement, right? And the official statement says build your own bits, rear wheel drive, manufacturer influence in the final design, right? Like, so the Cadillac has to look like a Cadillac, the Porsche has to look like a Porsche, the Ferrari has to look like a Ferrari. Beyond that, everything is, well, I talked to a guy who knows that X, Y, and Z is going to be part of the final regs. So I'm going to put that in my article because, as we know, nobody is capable of not breaking embargo these days. So, yeah. But, Aries,
Me?
question for you.
Oh,
Do you think that your boys over
my
there in
boy.
Maranello, your boys, are
My
gonna be
people.
okay with build your own Orca?
You see, that's down to how big their ego is. Like I've already mentioned this before, but I don't know. I think we're threading a really fine line between
Yeah.
in-house design and actually building their own pieces, some their own like what they came up with, and just following guidelines. Like okay, this it's like there we go. It's like the recipe for a cake. It's all lying there, but everybody obviously is
Mm-hmm.
gonna make it their own way, even if the recipe's the same. But like the quantities and everything. So
Right.
yeah, I don't
I can make
know
a
if
tall cake and you can make a wide cake.
yeah,
And I could make a chocolate cake, and you could make a vanilla cake, and
Exactly.
you could make a strawberry cake. I feel like that's a
Somebody
thing.
please make LMH, LMDH, Unified Reg Car cakes at Le Mans and serve pieces of them. So, the fact that there is something in the regs about like brand identity elements, the Porsche's looking like Porsche's thing, makes me think that this is going to be a lot more spec under the bodywork. Like, because the brand identity elements are going to have to be like bodywork pieces. The actual chassis could still be very spec. And if they're putting so much emphasis on this brand identity bodywork, essentially, it just makes me think, personally, that all the innards are going to be a lot more spec. And maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong.
I hope so. I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Well, as a shock to everyone, I'm a Ford fan now, okay? Because Matt Campbell officially has a full-time seat again. The announcement for Le Mans came out. It came out at Le Mans that there are like three other drivers. So Nick Yelly, Tom Blomqvist, and Matt Campbell are the three remaining drivers for the program, which to me, Matt going to Ford, we kind of knew it was happening because the rumors have been rumoring for a while. It feels like every forward article threw around Matt's name as a possibility, but also to me, it always made the most sense of any team for Matt to go to Ford because of how much their presence is in Australia, how they're trying to make their presence at Bathurst more a thing. Matt has also done stuff with Ford in the past, specifically for the Bathurst 1000. So, like, to me, this wasn't a shock at all. I wasn't surprised at one bit, and I'm excited.
I think of the three drivers announced, Matt was the least surprising. I had heard people saying that none of their GT drivers were getting announced for the three seats, and to me that sounded absolutely crazy, but like I assumed Matt was going to be one of the three seats, but I really thought that at least one of the GT guys was going to be one of the other seats, but then when you go and look at the other two guys that got announced, I mean, Nick Yellow just got a class win at Le Mans. yesterday.
Yes,
Amazing signing for them.
indeed.
Has won a race this year in IMSA. Like, really good, successful guy. Tom Blomqvist, again, like, very well-rounded driver, has done a lot in his career, and very successful sports car driver. So, yeah, I mean, I think those two came out of nowhere. I think honestly, people were expecting Chris Mees and Mike
Yes,
Conway.
yes.
I
Especially
think that
Chris Mees.
everyone was expecting Chris Mees and Mike Conway. And those didn't happen. I would guess that they were potentially in the works until Honda decided to discontinue their sports car program. And then when you have massively successful drivers suddenly available who are, no offense to Chris and Mike, but who are significantly younger,
Yeah.
it makes a lot more. I mean, Ford is already working with the fact that Mike Rockefeller is not a spring chicken. So to
Exactly.
add then two more, what did they say about Andre? They were like, he's not quite in the sunset of his career, but he's not, like, they said something about that when they were talking about Genesis, and it was just like the funniest line, and I need to go back and find it because I want to use it. But they said something like that, because I was like, why didn't they say Twilight? Because, like, whatever phrase they used wasn't a phrase that was, like, common parlance to me, but maybe it is in the UK or something. But same thing with Mike and Rocky, is, like, they are on the later half of their career, versus I would say Tom and Nick are still in the first half of their career.
Yeah. Also, Ford has mentioned that if they were to do IMSA at some point and MSR was still looking for a link up,
Yep.
that they'd be interested in that. So taking two of the MSR drivers.
We should have read into that more with the knowledge of those guys being out there, with the fact that they were still able to be signed.
That is like one of those things that now looking back on, I'm like, okay.
We could have put that piece together and said, crazy idea. It would have felt like a crazy idea, though. Like, it would have felt just as crazy as saying, because Penske uses Ford, cars in NASCAR, that obviously Penske is. Like, it's that much of a putting two and two together and maybe getting 4 instead of 7.
Yes. I will say, though, I feel like I talk more about Matt being, like, my favorite driver than the fact that Tom Blomqvist is also one of my favorite drivers. So having the two of them at a team together, it's not as good as Cam Jam being together, but, like, it's close for me. So I'm excited about that. Also, thank you to Ford for acknowledging that Tom was an IndyCar driver. That's very important to me.
Their little bios that they gave them were quite amusing. I liked them.
Yes.
Ford did a very good job with that little announcement video.
I mean, Matt is in fact not British, so.
Yes. Not British. Australian.
What do you mean? There's a Union Jack on his flag. Oh, wait a minute.
He would take offense to that. He's very
Britannia or something. Sorry, not the title.
I almost just said the Queen. They're still subjects of the King, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, it's like the same way. Yeah. It's the same way Canada is. Like, our money has the. I was also going to say the Queen on it.
I got you almost saying the Queen.
The Queen.
Well, okay, all of my money still has the Queen on it. I still haven't gotten money with the King on it yet, despite the fact it apparently exists.
Talking
So, like, to
about
me-
the King of England, not on the what we were going to do on the show today bingo card.
It's
No.
a very long list of conversation derailments today. It's interesting. I
Yes,
like
it really is. Yeah, I will say my one other point is Ford. When this announcement came out, I went looking for merch. Most of the merch is either Danny Ricciardo merch or Red Bull merch, or it says GT on it. We need to start working on just the general Ford merch, okay?
They have just announced their drivers in the past, 3 days. Give them a second. I'm sure they'll have merch. I would like to point out that Toyota does still not have, commercially available merch that the team is wearing at the track. Also, you can't buy PPM merch anymore, so that's wonderful. So at least Ford has merch.
That's a start. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we just need to wait until A, their car is rolled out reportedly in August, or B, at least their driver lineups are announced and they do like little shirts for each car. I don't know. I'm gonna buy a Logan shirt when they come out. Just because. If you know me, you know
And if
why.
they don't come out, I will make a Matt Ford shirt if I have to, if that's what it comes to. And Aries, I can make you a Logan one too. But
Very nice.
if I have to resort to making merch, I will.
I won't.
But I'd
You
prefer
won't find
not
me complaining.
And now we can talk about actual Loma. Genesis making it to Hyperpole 2 was not on my bingo card. I am, however, very happy that it happened. Good job to them.
Just for them to promptly drop all the way to the back of the field because they clearly put a quali setup on that car. Which, honestly, brilliant move of them because no one talks about who's running in P16 in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but people do talk about the 10 cars that make it to Hyperpole.
Indeed.
So, or Hyperpole 2, whatever we're calling it now. Stupid new format. Hate it, by the way. I hate the new format. I hate making all three drivers drive. The 24 Hours of Le Mans should be the showcase of the greatness of these teams and of these drivers. And doing this weird, all three drivers need to drive, it's split up across multiple days, it's 3 weird different sessions, only 3 cars get excluded from the first session to the second session. It's stupid, and I hate it. How about we just don't? Just take the fastest, however many cars you want, 6, 8, 10, 6, 7,
8?
out of the first day, and stick them in Hyperpole, and let whoever wants to drive that car drive it as fast as humanly possible around the circuit. Thank you.
It felt way too spread out.
Indeed.
It was just too much of qualifying in Hyperpole to where it almost it lost to me a lot of the grandness it felt like it had in the past by making every driver participate in it. It lost a lot of the vibes, I feel like, in my opinion.
I feel like it worked better when it was just the top 8 advancing onto the Hyperpole session, to decide who comes out on top, whether to use track limits or not. Anyway, yeah, it feels like the way it is right now. I had to sneak that one in. It feels like the way it is right now is just. It feels like the emphasis is more on the show and not on the actual track action. I don't know. I could be wrong.
To me, the race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is the time to show the teamwork and the skills of all three drivers combined. Qualifying has never been that. That is not what qualifying is about. Qualifying is who is the fastest man or woman around this circuit on this day. Exactly. I do not want to have to see not the fastest man or woman going for the ultimate lap time because they needed to use the fastest man or woman in Hyperpole 1 to make sure the car made it through, because a top 10 start is more important than putting your best driver in. I mean, we saw that at the Nürburgring this year. Manti used Kévin for the first section of qualifying. For the second section of qualifying, to make sure they got it into the final where they had Preining go. Like, you're not using your all-time fastest driver for the all-time fastest lap. I want to see the fastest drivers going for pole. Exactly. I want to know that the fastest guy is the one that set the pole lap. Like, at least we had this absolute gloves off between Jack Aiken and Dries Vanthoor, who I will say are two of the fastest men in a hypercar right now. Hands down.
My thing was specifically Genesis, especially the 19, because the 17 has had different guys qualifying that car, so it's different. The 19, qualifying's been Jam. Okay, Jam did Hyperpole 1. Danny and PLC have never qualified that car. So, like, having PLC do Hyperpole 2 was, like, weird to me because, like, he's never done qualifying in that car.
It's because they needed Jam to make sure they made it into the top 10. They used him like Kévin in the Grello.
Yes.
Exactly. It's a stupid format. Stupid format. Let the fastest guy do the initial qualifying session, and then let him do Hyperpole as well. The same as every other race. We are not making two different people qualify at every other race. Why are we doing it at Le Mans? We have 24 hours to see these guys work together as a team. We do not need to see it in qualifying as well.
Yeah, I also think another part that made this qualifying Hyperpole even more confusing was the whole situation at the end between Caddy and BMW, where the broadcast is talking about how Caddy has lost the Hyperpole, but Caddy doesn't know that yet. So they're going through the whole ceremony of Caddy getting the medals and everything, but we all know that Caddy doesn't actually have Hyperpoles.
I still don't understand how that is a cancellation of a lap and not just a grid penalty, because, like, grid penalties don't preclude you from being on pole. Like, we saw that with the Panis car.
Yes.
Forestier, whatever. The car that was in the same garage as Kevin's car, but wasn't Kevin's car.
Which was also green.
It was also green. The Esteban Messon car.
Yeah.
That car was on pole. They are registered as the pole car for the 24 Hours of Le Mans in LMP2. But they took a grid penalty. I don't understand why that isn't why was it a cancellation of a lap? And why didn't, because Cadillac waited until the very end and set one lap, right?
Yep.
Like, I assume they would not have done that had they known this penalty was looming. So it's like, if that is going to be the penalty, that needed to have been communicated immediately so they knew to go out and set laps.
My also thing is, Genesis did the same thing.
Yes, Andre full-on went out into the fast lane, and they got, as far as I can tell, no penalty from it.
They got no penalty.
Maybe they did. So the thing is, maybe they did, and because they set multiple laps, we just never knew about it. So a cancellation of a single lap when you've set 3 doesn't make a difference. But when you set 1 lap, a cancellation of a lap destroys your time.
I just know it was never at least announced that they got a penalty.
It just felt weird and messy and unnecessary, in my opinion. This was
bad. It was bad. It was a bad look for West.
Yeah.
Extremely. It made it look amateurish, if you have to ask me.
Yeah.
What I feel.
Especially because of the fact that you had Andre literally do the same exact thing, and then no penalty was announced for Andre, but then Jack did get a penalty announced. That's just very messy,
Yeah,
in my eyes, at least.
very much so.
Yes. Well, we were just, well, we were on praising Genesis for getting everybody talking about them with their get your cars into Hyperpole. As I said in the intro, I praised our Lords and Saviors Toyota for doing a good job, and I guess getting eliminated in the first, or should I say second hurdle of qualifying, because they made it to Hyperpole too, but yeah, whatever.
Did make it.
Starting in P14 and P15, if I'm not mistaken, was the ace move they could have pulled, because, they were clearly just focusing on their race pace. And by now we all know what's happened, obviously.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah,
that worked really well for them, focusing on the race pace.
It works really well for them. They're also not the only car that qualified very badly and then won, because Corvette had the same thing happen because they had a driver with a messed up elbow that was qualifying, so they didn't get through, and then they won the race. Perfect example of Le Mans qualifying doesn't really matter because it's a 24-hour race.
Yep.
Also, perfect example of teamwork, which we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just threw the parade in randomly, just mainly because I thought it was really funny. Jackie X. We all know he's like so involved with Genesis. I just thought it was really funny that he was driving the 17's car around for the parade. It was great.
That was great. And it seemed like the guys loved it.
100%. It also seemed like Jackie was loving it as well. Because, like, every photo, he's just, like, the biggest smile. But also, Canada Car was giving peak Canada Car for the parade because they had mini sticks, and that's just very, very Canadian. Mini sticks are hockey sticks that are really tiny, and they just made them red with a bunch of maple leaves, and they said 13 on them. So they like handed those out as their thing they were handing out, which I thought was very fitting for them. But also they then made the guys do content at the track where they were playing mini sticks hockey, and you could tell that none of them understood how to play mini sticks. It was great. This is more, I need like cars doing very on brand content, but also things that they're like handing out.
And then, well, what caught my attention about the parade, which we did not know until the next day, if I'm not mistaken, was a bit of an incident that could have been extremely serious. The lineup of the 183 LMP2 Pro Am car, the AF Corsa car of, if I'm not mistaken, Ben Barnicoat, Francois Perotto, and Matt Vaccine, or should I say?
Yes, Matt Vaccine was in there.
Matt Vaccine, Matthew Vaxivier, if you're not close to him. They apparently,
if you were not in a random, what was that, ELMS
Asian
commentary, Asian Le Mans series live chat 2 years ago. That was the most niche joke on the show. Like, that's more niche than the track limits thing. The Matt Vaccine thing is our most niche joke. And I'm so sorry to Vaxivier for it, but he is Matt Vaccine forever because of that.
Yes. Well, yeah. That's brilliant. It feels like that joke came up yesterday, but yeah, we've adopted it.
Yeah.
There was something extremely concerning about what happened in the parade. Apparently, the driver of the car they were riding in was a bit too eager, and apparently took a ramp too fast or something. Apparently made some sort of sudden maneuver, and the three of them were ejected from the car, and very luckily did not suffer potentially race, or should I say weekend ending injuries.
Yeah.
Because imagine if something like this happens, and one of them or two of them are ruled out for the rest of the actual race. I mean, how do you
And
answer
you gotta
to that?
remember, this is a car that was on the podium. So
Exactly.
that
Yes.
would have been race altering.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
That's a strong lineup.
surprisingly had, yeah, strong lineup. Hadn't heard that about them getting ejected from their car during the
There were
parade.
like
So,
2 tweets about it, and that was it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
then
I missed them somehow.
yeah,
Yeah.
Daily Sports Car were the ones who broke that story. So I guess, I mean, good
Yeah.
job on being
Reputable
transparent.
source.
Yes. But that's insane. And like definitely could have altered a lot, so not what you'd like to see. Um and then on to kind of the race itself. We don't do race reviews,
We do
but
commentary reviews, though. I
we
Yeah.
am
do
ready for
commentary
my
reviews.
commentary review. Here, okay, yep,
Um
me and Larry are ready for the commentary review.
okay. Well, so I started first off watching the HBO Max broadcast because
Without Larry.
I already pay for HBO Max. So I'm going to use the membership that I pay for to watch
It
the
is
broadcast. Last year it did not have ads at all. This year it felt like every 5 minutes there was an ad. Even if you have the HBO Max with no ads, which is what
Sorry,
I
I'm
have.
laughing at myself because I see that I'm holding the Larry card.
We're getting
and
to
it's
it.
making me laugh.
So then I spent money on WEC Plus.
On Larry.
On Larry. Because I was tired of dealing with these ads every 5 seconds. And then it wasn't like a quick ad break. The ad break was forever. So you were like missing so much of the race. I was getting annoyed. So then I had to spend more money on top of
It's
subscription I
$24.
already paid for.
WEC Plus was $24 for
Yes,
the race.
but I'm just saying I
Everyone
was
should have
annoyed.
gotten it for Larry. If you're unaware, Lawrence Vantor was commentating on FIO WEC Plus.
Yes.
It was fantastic. I did not even consider looking at the HBO broadcast because I wanted Larry commentary because I was curious how he would be as a commentator. I'm putting him down because my arm is getting tired. There were 2 bits of commentary that I want to talk about because I think that it was very interesting of him on both parts. When Toyota was implementing their "hey, you're gonna let this other driver in front of you" situation, they were like, "So, Lawrence, you want to talk about team orders and teams using team orders?" And I actually told him this. He was way more diplomatic than I would have been about that. I mean, he did a very good job explaining why a team would do something like that. The fact that for these teams, it doesn't matter who's in P1 and who's in P2. All that matters is that it's P1 and P2, which, like, as we saw at Sebring, the drivers do care, the team doesn't. But I just thought it was hilarious that for that thing, Larry was in the booth. And then the second one was he was in the booth again for Kevin's little off-track adventure. And he didn't, like, defend Kevin, but he kind of did, because he was talking about how Kevin is, like, able to normally take Indy so much more aggressively than anyone else. I think he said that Kevin can gain 2 to 3 seconds on him just through Indy because of the way he attacks those curbs, and that Larry is not comfortable touching those curbs at all. And then I don't remember who it was, whoever was in the booth with him was like, "Yeah, so the problem is that you can take the curbs like that in a GT car and a hypercar. That is not a line in an LMP2 car."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, nobody told Kevin that. Because he was not taking an LMP2 line through there because, again, he hasn't really driven an LMP2. So, but yeah, I thought that was, like, really interesting. Because he wasn't, like, out there, like, defending his teammate. Like, he was very objective, honestly. And it was one difference that I kind of noticed between, because Michelle Gadding also did commentary. She was a lot less objective in her commentary. Like, when there was a chance to talk about Dorian Pin, she was like, oh, I love her, and she was my teammate, and I know how small she is in a car, and it's so crazy to... And it's like, that's cool, but I really thought that the professionalism that Larry brought, having, like, his brother in the race, having multiple teammates of his from over the years in the race, and he didn't show any commentary favoritism to any of them, was actually amazing as Kevin said, rookie in the commentary booth. That might have been my favorite part of when Larry was commentating, when they interviewed Kevin and made Kevin say hi to Larry.
Yes.
That was great.
I was about to say, that was honestly, like, such a great part to me.
Yeah, that might have been the highlight of the broadcast, quite frankly.
Yeah. I liked that part a lot.
Yeah, that was really good.
So, yeah, it was very just, like, interesting to hear things from Larry's point of view. It also, like, took me a second to, like, adjust to commentator Larry. Like, hearing his voice for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, that is Larry. And he is commentating for this race. It just was like a curveball.
Larry could definitely read audiobooks, but also, like, so when Larry does his podcast, or speaking to Larry in person, he's kind of animated.
Yes.
Commentator Larry is not animated, and kind of made me sleepy. Because at one point he was commentating at 1 a.m.
Yes.
So, like, he would be really good at reading, like, audiobooks that are useful for putting people to sleep.
So you got
I've got your retirement plan, Larry.
You got the Antares Al treatment. Because that guy has a very soothing voice.
Yes, he does.
But I'm also thinking of, like, those apps where it's, like, mindfulness before you go to bed, and it's, like, reading you these, like, very insightful
narrated
moments.
By Larry. I bet he would love doing that, because he's all about that mindfulness. Larry, we have a business plan for you, where you do a mindfulness and meditation app. I feel like meditation app is right up your alley, so,
exactly.
We'll talk about this at Watkins. Good idea. Yes.
Good
but that's
point.
like, that's what I was thinking of, was like meditation app
really good
with
idea.
Larry, and then I was like, actually wait, that is very Larry coded.
It is so Larry coded.
And then on this part of the world, as you know, I am already physically isolated from everybody else that I know, and that also happens related to commentary for the WEC, because we do have our own. We have 2 YouTube channels that do WEC streams for every race, so at least that's a positive, and they're both free. So woohoo! Unless you count the ads, which come up every 5 minutes, that's annoying. But that's on YouTube, not on the channels, I think. But anyway, we didn't have singing this time, unfortunately. I think that kind of wore off for the Brazilians this year, not unlike the Spanish.
I was about to say, was it Spain that had it?
Yeah, we did that.
Did your commentators know how to say Kevin's name this year?
Oh,
no.
Brazilian commentators, hit me up. I have some helpful audio for you.
There's a tutorial. Yeah. We have a tutorial.
There is we have an Orange Flag podcast exclusive tutorial on how to say Kévin Estre's name. And spoiler alert, it is not Kévin Estre. Although he did say that is acceptable.
Or also how the WEC broadcast said his name.
Yeah, they really like saying Kévin Estre for some reason.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna.
That was not one of the options given.
You know what? Because if you're not aware of the WEC calendar, next time is in Interlagos, and I will be there. So I will just crash the broadcast and be like, "Hey guys, here's how you pronounce this guy's name."
Yes, crash the broadcast with the audio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Oh, that's brilliant.
like, he's not going to be racing, but they will inevitably mention him at some point.
It's
So
impossible
Yeah.
for any broadcast to not mention Kévin. I don't understand how they've all like reached into my brain every time there's a broadcast. It's amazing. I don't know that we've ever actually talked about the how to say Kevin's name tutorial audio, but it
maybe,
exists. We have it.
It exists.
yeah. I think
We
it might.
we are very knowledgeable.
Yes,
I feel
about
like
this.
we, as speaking
The
people,
wo-
we are very knowledgeable.
I feel like the one broadcast that maybe got it the correct way was Dylan. His brother was doing commentating apparently because he posted like that he was doing commentating on something. So I feel like if any broadcast got it correct, it was while Dylan was commentating.
I would assume that all the French broadcasts do, because he said that there's a way to say his name in French. So I assume all the French people know how to say his name correctly.
We would.
I love how
I'm
this
just
is
saying
like
I
a
would-
year and a half old audio, and we're just talking about it now.
Yeah. I'm just saying I would hope Dylan knows how to say his own name.
Yeah, I would also hope so.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually,
But yeah.
Back to what I was going on about my local broadcasts. The quality of the commentating was very good, and on the channel that I was watching. My pet peeve, though, who in the world uses 720p quality in 2026? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing when that's the highest quality you have available in this year?
And then we already mentioned it. Corvette won. It was from the furthest position, which apparently is a Ben Keating thing because before this current regulations for GT and the previous regulations, the record was apparently also held by Ben Keating.
Something that was not good and had a lot of people talking about it at some point because it was getting, let's be real, it was getting on my nerves. What was Race Direction thinking? And
So
then that
bad.
was extremely annoying. Their overuse of full course yellows. Suppose, I don't know, a car stops on the run between, let's say, the Mulsanne corner and Indianapolis. Why in the world someone who's going, I don't know, why in the world someone who's on the front stretch or is entering the Mulsanne straight, which is the opposite part of the circuit, on a 13-kilometer circuit, needs to slow down because of something that's far away from them? Like, why? Where are the slow zones that were put in place?
Slow zones were like something that was very emblematic of 24-hour races, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially like used very well at Le Mans because it's such a big circuit.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense to me. And the only thing, and I can't imagine that WEC Race Direction would do this, but there's obviously been a large influx in the past, I would say, 2 or so years of people coming from other racing series, primarily a certain open wheel racing series that completely neutralizes a race for everything. Fans of said series have issues with the idea of cars racing on a circuit where there may be recovery vehicles, where there may be marshals on track. Not taking into account this isn't a 5-kilometer circuit, this is a 13-kilometer circuit. So I don't want to have my conspiracy hat on and say that it is because of criticism from people who primarily are from said other FIA run open wheel series. But it might be. It's honestly the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of was this race just felt like the end of slow zones, like the death of slow zones, because we should have had them and we didn't. It just felt like we are losing them, basically, was all I could think of.
And I mean, like, even safety cars, like Guven's crash absolutely needed to be a safety car.
Yes.
There were car bits and tire bits and stuff like on the track in a relatively narrow portion of the track.
Yes.
Had to be a safety car, no doubt there. The earlier safety car, I don't understand why that was a safety car. I genuinely do not understand why that was a safety car.
I don't understand why it was a safety car, and I honestly don't understand why it was so long of a safety car.
Well, because of the new safety car procedures, they take for their like people complain about IMSA's full course yellow safety car procedures, but like they seemed quick compared to the glacial pace of that procedure. It was insanity.
It was so slow. And then you have the race director like yelling at cars to speed up, then threatening penalties if they don't speed up. I
mean, that's standard. That's just Eduardo Freitas being Eduardo Freitas. Like that's just what you want. But it just like
from
with
him. All of it like put together, though, it just was feeling so messy.
Honestly, it didn't even register to me that he was yelling at cars because it's expected that he's going to yell at cars.
Oh yeah. It was just one of those things where all put together, I was like, this is feeling like the messiest safety car procedure right now.
Yeah.
Please close those gaps. He said calmly.
Right. Yes. And I don't think it needs to be like the Nürburgring where they do not do safety cars at all, because Le Mans is still a lot smaller than the Nürburgring.
Yes.
I do think that safety cars, like, it doesn't just need to be slow zones. It doesn't just need to be the possibility of a full course yellow. Like, but safety cars need to be reserved for, like, an absolute, like, major incident. Not a car off in the gravel. A car off in the gravel, I don't see there's any reason that ever needs to be a safety car. That can absolutely be a slow zone. It's like, it just opens up that when there's inconsistency in race control. I feel like we just talked about inconsistency in race control like a couple weeks ago. Amazing how this is something that keeps on coming up across series. Like, all fans want is consistency. You can be as ridiculous as you want with penalties. You can be as ridiculous as you want with calling safety cars or slow zones or full course yellows, as long as you're consistent.
Yep.
No, that.
Andrant, I'm
take a deep breath and I don't know, just in and out. At least you're confident Eduardo Freitas at a regular day of the week, because I don't know what that. Exactly. I don't know. Bless whoever gets in that guy's way. But I remember in 2014 when the slow zone system was introduced, some situations, like I remember there being, I think I mentioned this in the group chat, there was a car crashing in the Porsche curves, and they had to do barrier repairs under a slow
zone. Which is what it's what they do at the Nürburgring, so like, it's possible.
Very possible. I mean, arguably, Le Mans being a shorter circuit, it should be easier to keep an eye on those things.
Moving on to the most important thing of the week. Rory from Rory Talks Motorsport / Rory Talks F1 and Earl Bamber are at war. They're at war for Instagram followers. Rory decided he wants to have more Instagram followers than Earl Bamber and posted about it. And then Earl said that he wants to get to 50,000 followers before Rory, and if he does that, he's going to bring Rory to Petite. I want to meet Rory. So, everybody go follow Earl Bamber on Instagram. It's just Earl Bamber. Just go follow Earl on Instagram so I get to meet Rory. Who cares about this war? I want to meet Rory.
Yeah, we just want the Petite crew to grow, so that Rory can be included in it. But yeah, this was one of the things where I saw it in the Twitter group chat first and was like, what are we talking about? And then I went on to Instagram and I was like, Oh, this is what we're talking about. I was very confused at first.
Yes.
It's just one of those random bits of content that just, I don't know. Some years ago, we had two very big YouTube channels who got to 1 million followers at first. So now we're just getting
Yeah.
sports car personalities duking it out for 50,000 followers on Instagram. So I guess
Right.
follow Earl Bamber.
Yes,
We've picked a side.
we have.
We have.
Sorry, Rory.
Yeah.
It's
Rory,
for the
you
greater
are
good that you lose this battle.
Rory, you
Exactly.
are crossing the Atlantic, whether you like it or not.
I did check with him and his passport's up to date, so if Earl gets to 50K, Rory can in fact come to Petite.
That's what we want to see. That's what we like.
Right?
Yes.
And then I guess something that emerged in the immediate aftermath of the race was I was just, doing my random Twitter scrolling and going off of some people and replying normally to other people about some things.
As one does.
Yes, I stumbled upon this tweet from this guy who I have spoken to sometimes, and it's Adam Weller. He's a commentator for some local series in the UK. And well, should I quote it? This is what he said. At the risk of being booed and egged, I missed Le Mans as it was. I recognize that it's a very different race in this era and certainly an interesting one. However, a lot of what made it feel special to me as a kid is gone. I like the new flavor, but I miss the old formula. And it got me thinking
And
something was different this year in the recent history.
will not be booing or egging him because I agree, and me and you had been talking about this before you even saw that tweet.
Yes.
And then you sent it to me and you were like, he said what we're saying.
Yes. Like there was a follow-up to this, like that he said, like the notion of a lost minute ruling someone out of victory contention shows how competitive it is, but utter perfection doesn't quite hit the same for me. Le Mans had more emotion and intrigue attached when mechanical adversity could be answered to, and comebacks were possible. Like I see what he's coming from. It feels like these days it needs to be something perhaps unrealistically perfect. Like obviously you can put up those kinds of performances, like we saw the Toyota team. Obviously they won the race by being flawless. Inter Europol won LMP2 by being flawless. But it's sort of we've gotten to a point, I feel like, that everything is so this is so controversial when you know who I cheer for, but it's come to a point where everything feels so quote unquote equal that if you put as much as a stumble on a pit stop as somebody stumbles on a pit stop and you lose a second, you're out of the fight. You're left behind and you can't come back. And I don't know, it just feels weird seeing this as much. Like it's a double-edged sword because everybody likes a big field, a big competitive field, but at the same time it feels like those stories that we all know about, like people coming back from however back they were and winning, it just feels kind of impossible these days. I don't know.
It's interesting to me, right? Because a lot of the same storylines from last year should have been able to apply this year, right? Like
Yes.
two of the podium finishers came from what should be impossibly far back on the starting grid. Last year it was the 83 and the 6. This year it was the 7 and the 8. The winner came from what should be impossibly far back, but because, like you're saying, it has gotten so equal to the point where you make an error, you have something happen, you catch a puncture at the wrong time, and you are so far out of contention. And it got me thinking, how early into the race last year? And I think we glossed over this because it was our cars that were in contention. So to us, it was exciting. Whereas this year, it's not our cars, so we were bored. when it was the 83 and the 6, which is literally the cars this podcast outwardly supported last year for the 24 Hours of Le Mans,
Yes.
going at it and finishing with 14 seconds between them. We thought that was the most exciting thing in the world. But how early into the race was it clear that it was going to be one of the 3 Ferraris or the number 6?
Very early, I think.
Pretty darn early.
Yeah.
Before the night fell.
Oh, way before.
Like, they were the only cars in contention before the night fell. I will say this year there were at least more cars from more brands in contention after the sun rose than last year.
Yes.
I will give that to the ACO, to WEC, to the new hidden secret balance of performance.
It's
and
why I think, to me, this take is interesting, considering, at least to me, compared to last year versus this year. Like you've said, this year at least it felt like more cars had a chance for longer periods of time. So, like, it didn't feel like as definitively, like, set in stone as soon.
So if you look at it as far as brands, yes. If you look at it as far as individual driver crews in true contention to win the race, last year beat out this year. Because right down to the very end of the race, all of those cars were in, 25 seconds of each other? The 83, the 6, the 51, and the 50 were all literally with an hour to go, like, fighting it out to where, like, had the 83 needed to do a driver change and lost that amount of time, the 6 might have been able to win the race, you know? Had one of them stumbled on a pit stop, which again goes back to this everything's to the finest margins. It's becoming like Formula One, where, you know, somebody doesn't get the tire on quite right and there's no recovering from that. You've dropped all the way to the back of the field. It does feel like it's getting like that, which is a separate conversation from the BOP one. I'm kind of blending about 6 different conversations all into how I think racing could be better. But I do think
it's all valid though, like what you said. It got me thinking that it could perhaps get to a point where it's something like what we saw, let's say, at the Nürburgring, where someone, let's say, somebody has an issue, somebody has an off, but somehow manages to get back to the pit lane, and however they know they're going to take so long to make that repair that even, I say long, maybe like 5 minutes, maybe slightly more than that, they just don't bother with it because they know they're not going to be in contention anymore. So
realistically, had the number 3 car not contained Max Verstappen, that car would not have come out to finish that race.
Yes, so
they would have retired that car. There is no way.
For this race was the 13, so Canada car. They got the car back running, went out for laps, and then ended up bringing the car back in and retiring because they decided, we are so far down on laps, we're just going to retire at this point. So, like, that's, at least to me in this race specifically, not Hypercar and it's GT, but that's kind of the best example of what we have in this race. Is a car literally got the car back running, went out to do laps, came back in and was like, we're going to retire because realistically we can't come back to this. We don't want to just be holding people.
And one thing, and again, we do need to be very self-aware and very transparent. Last year was probably an interesting race for this podcast, for the 3 of us, because it was our cars in contention. This year, it wasn't. Obviously, my driver was in an LMP2 Pro-Am car, not fighting for an overall win. Your cars, Aries, were a bit far back, you know, solidly in the top 10, but, except for RIP the 50. But, like, in the top 10, but not really part of that conversation for the win, right? Like,
yeah, they were in the the fun thing, if I may interject, like the fun thing is they were on a similar level of pace to like we were doing this analysis of, driver pace, lap times and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the same level as the previous year. But then at the same time, obviously there is BOP involved. But at the same time, Toyota brought in a heavily revised car, Alpine used jokers, BMW brought another heavily revised car, and so did Cadillac. And
Yes.
it's sort of expected that these guys are gonna do better than someone who
And
is bringing
so
essentially
you
the
don't
same
need to say
car.
it. And so you don't need to say it, Aries, because I know you'll probably get torn apart because you are a Ferrari fan and you'll be seen as making excuses. I'll say it. Ferrari got screwed by the rehomologation. That
They did.
rehomologation was so close to the beginning of the season, it gave them no time to even choose to use a joker. They were told pretty much immediately before the season started, hey, by the way, we're making these structural changes to your car because we believe that you're too optimized. I get it because it's like they're basically operating outside BOP. Maybe IMSA needed to have done that to PPM with the Joker upgrades, and that would keep the field a little closer. And you know what? Hey, it has brought Ferrari at least back into the average group, right? Rather
Yes.
than running away as they did for the first 4 races of last year.
And we saw this in Imola and Spa this year. They were in the fight, but they were not
right,
disappearing into the
running
distance.
away with it. Yeah. And that is BOP working. That is this rehomologation working, but at the same time, it did not give Ferrari a chance to adapt, and that is not okay, in my opinion. Everybody would be pissed if it's their car, but because it's Ferrari, everyone's okay with it.
Exactly. Everybody was like, I did go off with some people, but obviously I wasn't angry because I know like I said, we won the previous 3 years in a row. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. If we're not on the ball this year, okay, but I get why the team's frustrated, because I think the team's not frustrated because they lost, but it's because they did not have a fighting chance. And that's also probably why they're announcing they're going big on the Jokers for next year, because they're using 3.
Yeah. That's going to be a completely new car next year.
Yep.
Basically what Toyota did. Like the
Yes.
Toyota is basically a brand new car.
Exactly.
Not being a brand new car.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Orange Flag Pod. Nicole is at Nicole One Racing, Austin is at Austin Trackside, and Aries is at Aries_Alpenglow. Stay orange.